just a hack. It's just an absolute hack. And he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
Welcome, everybody, to Hack City. I am Sean Anderson, Sanderson Radio on Twitter. And today, let's just go over my FCS Week 5 ballot. It's been a couple days since publishing. A lot of people have gotten theirs out. Nice little midweek break for an explanation and maybe a little bit of a preview. Would like to do this a little bit more. Have received a good amount of feedback on each poll that I have posted. I would say majority fair. It has been received with contempt and with admiration if you're in the top 5. But that's just how it goes. Would like to do this series a little more often. Just give you a quick update of where my headspace is at with the FCS or Stats FCS, Stats Perform FCS Top 25 poll. A lot of signage on that. But let's get it kicked off. Number 1, South Dakota State. Pretty evident, pretty apparent. They're not moving anywhere. A lot of good wins. They are the top of the heap with not much explanation needed further. Number 2, Montana State, still very talented. No need to move them, in my opinion. And when they played earlier in the year, I said that this game, when played, it would not knock Montana State for me because they played incredibly well. And if they played 10 times, neutral field, it's probably going 5-5. Number 3, Idaho. The Vandals are rolling, and they are rolling fast. Maybe the hottest team in the FCS, and they just have what it takes to be a top 3 team right now. Number 4, Sacramento State, still very talented, still very good at adapting, and I believe in the coaches and the players on the team that they will not let weird little hiccups in the season. It's been a lot of hiccups for a lot of these teams. I still have faith that they are a top 4 team. Number 5, Furman have been a model of consistency this year, and when other teams are getting more inconsistent, I will feel like the consistency should be rewarded. The other teams can drop, they can rise a little more. Furman has just been on a slow, nice climb all year and have been doing their thing. Number 6, SIU, Southern Illinois. They are another very hot team, have strung together a lot of really good games and got a bump after the, I guess, big mess that took place this week. And some of the big mess teams you'll see that got dropped after number 7, Incarnate Word. Incarnate Word, still dynamic, still a strong program, and doesn't seem to be slowing down. We'll see what happens when more tests come down the letterhead or docket, whatever you want to call it. But right now, they are sitting at 7 because the next 3 teams had to get a big drop. North Dakota State had to get dropped to number 8. They did. They had a bad loss. They lost to South Dakota, not South Dakota State, South Dakota. So that means they must get dropped. They get dropped at 8. If they lose again, they get dropped out of the top 10. Maybe they get put in the 2025 range. Number 9, William and Mary. They lost. They get dropped. Pretty simple. Still a good team, still a good program, but I'm not going to reward a loss in week 5 with a mainstay place in the top 5 where I had them. Number 10, Holy Cross. What the hell? Everyone was high on Holy Cross. I still am high on Holy Cross, but they dropped a weird game to Harvard. Who does that? You can't do that and then expect that you're staying up in the upper echelon of the teams that deserve that respect. Now, if they go out and string together 3 straight wins, we can just chalk that up to a fluky game. That's fine with me. But right now, they are at number 10. Let's get into 11 through 15. 11, Delaware, kind of in that same model of consistency, doing pretty good. Offense is sharpening up pretty quickly. They're really starting to move the ball well, which I like, and the defense is starting to come together a little bit as well. Number 12, Weber. Weber and a lot of the Big Sky teams that are ranked here are they're just going to be odd because that conference may be just the buzzsaw. You might just be in a heavyweight fight every single game, and that's going to cause a lot of shifting. It just will. And I think a lot of Big Sky teams are good. Similarly to Eastern Washington at 21, I still think Eastern Washington's a good team, even though they might keep on having to get dropped. So right now, Weber sitting at 12, but a pretty volatile 12, I would say. Number 13, NCCU, very solid, very good quarterback, a lot of returning talent. Got a lot of pushback when I left them off initially for my preseason poll. Valid. valid and I will wear it. We'll see. It's still week 5, but right now they've proven that they deserve to be the 13th best team in the FCS. Number 14, Central Arkansas. Done a lot of good things this year. Had some big wins, had some really competitive games, and they've just kind of been chopping wood, chopping wood. And when I have a bunch of fallers, Central Arkansas so far has shown that right now, as of now, they have the ability to climb. So their positive momentum pushes them up to 14, which I don't think anybody else has them ranked higher than me. So we'll see if that's a mistake. But right now, I'm confident with them at 14. 15 rather. FAMU has put together a very good season. They have a weird loss, but they have some convincing wins, and I know that they have talent. They play hard. They're coached well, and they deserve to be a ranked team. They are a good football team in the FCS, so 15 is a good spot. If they keep winning, we can see them getting a little more bump. If they lose again, it would take probably 2 losses back to back to get them off, unless it's a hideous beatdown. But right now, 15, solid with that. 16, Elon. Elon's been playing really, really tough this season. They've been playing really hard. They've notched some big wins, and they continue to climb. I think this might be their second week on my poll. It's been a lot of weeks with a lot of teams and a good amount of shifting, but Elon deserves to be on it. They have good wins, and they have a really, really strong resume in a very tough CAA this season. Number 17, Western Carolina or West Carolina, whatever. I'll be answering some of the responses or responding to some of the Twitter responses after this. And Western Carolina has one of those. But you cannot deny that their offense is good enough to be ranked, and they have a resume through September that is rankable. We'll see what happens in October because they have a couple games back to back that are going to be tough. And if they can stick it out, then rank them. And we'll crown them and we'll say that is a good team. That is a top 25 team. Right now at 17, some people have them higher. I don't know if people have them lower, probably, but right now I'm cool with them at 17. Number 18, UNI. Theo Day's a dude. He put it together an awesome performance, I think last week. Regardless, UNI, you can't count them out. You can't count them out because they've changed. They've shifted. They are still solid. They're airing it out a little bit more than we've seen in years past. And they have a quarterback that can really do it. So Theo Day, huge part of why UNI is on this. And if you're a Samford fan, you're talking about why isn't Michael Ayers making sure that Samford keeps on losing. So they're not on the list. UNI is. You can call it inconsistent. I call it dealer's choice. Number 19, South Dakota. If you beat North Dakota State when they were ranked so high, I'm going to put you at 19. And I saw their game. They played well. Their offensive play calling was very, very good. Their defense played hard. They executed the plays they needed to, and they didn't make a ton of mistakes. So, again, dealer's choice here, but I've come from the thought where if you beat a top 5 team, that puts you at least in the bottom of the top 25. It does, especially going into October. Not a week 1 fluky or a week 0 fluky, but right now, South Dakota put together a huge win and deserves to be on it. Number 20, North Dakota. They were higher. They've been dropped to 20. It's fine. North Dakota is still a very strong program, does what they can, needs to do what they can do, and they can beat a lot of FCS teams. That's what North Dakota can do. They're still little brother, but they see big brother take a hit. Maybe it's time to swoop in. Not making a mascot joke for them, but North Dakota, very solid program. Number 21, Eastern Washington, one of the most volatile teams on the list. Another Big Sky team that just is going to keep moving. They're going to keep moving because they're unpredictable and they have turned in very good performances along with a very, very tough schedule. So they're going to stay on. They could drop another couple games. They really could. And it's going to be hard to keep them off because I know how good they are. But right now, they're staying on. And it just looks like they will. Unless their record gets bad enough and I see teams that I have on the bubble that could move up, then they're just going to have to stay in this spot. Number 22, UNH, lost a weird one. Have a couple of weird losses. They let up 54 points to Towson. You can't really do that. Almost a Holy Cross loss where it's head scratching because UNH can put up points. They can put up a lot of points. They have a good offense. They do. But what's going on the defensive side where you're losing to Towson? That can't happen. It's just something that cannot happen if you are a UNH team that is trying to make a push in a very tough CAA this year. Number 23, Chattanooga. Very good team, very good offensive line. They have some playmakers. They've got a big game this week against Western Carolina. Huge game for them. I've been a proponent of Chattanooga. I think they're built well from the inside out, from the trenches out, rather. And they are going to remain here if they keep on chalking up good wins. I don't know if they are able to bump up. Like, if they beat West Carolina, this might be a full swap. This just might be a trade. They should be in that 15 to 18 range, I think. If West Carolina loses, I think their offense is still good enough to be in a 23. So it's a little bit, I'm just kind of typecasting right now about what would happen. But Chattanooga, I don't see eclipsing 15 if they beat West Carolina, but they would still move up. Number 24, UC Davis. This is a ranking based on potential. UC Davis has an odd matchup with Montana. And if they win, it kind of validates. If they lose, then they can just get bumped off. They've been on and off my poll all season, on and off, on and off. I don't have a ton of belief, but knowing this matchup, it could be a validation pick. Number 25, UT Martin. UT Martin's put together some good games. 25. A lot of people take a lot of stock in that 25th selection. Me, it's just, let's check out the resumes. Let's check out who won. I don't like putting a team that has recently lost or lost the previous week at the 25 spot, but I'm not totally against it. I'm a bit wish-washy, but I think I put together a pretty solid poll. Let's see here what we got. Some of the responses here. Silphorenetic. Elon at 16, William Mary at 9 is wild to me. Elon should be 13 and William Mary should be 14. It's a pretty valid take. I just don't feel good enough putting William Mary all the way down at 14, knowing the potential of that team. And Elon is just continuing to unveil their potential. So if they keep on chugging along, then they could move up into the top 10. And I wouldn't be worried about putting them in the top 10. But they just need another game, another couple more games of showing what they can really do. The dude abides responded, I think that this past weekend broke most of you pollsters. LOL. It did. It was a very, very tough weekend to put it together. I know Joe DeLeon completely reset his entire way of picking the polls. So it was tough. Featherface said, if only there was a way to determine if USD was better than NDSU. Well, they won the game. They're still South Dakota and they're still North Dakota State. So based on that, and I am a true proponent of matchups within two ranked teams, the winner should be ranked higher than the loser. I'm a proponent of that. But unranked, overranked, we'll rank them both now. If they play again and South Dakota won again, then South Dakota would have to be ranked higher than North Dakota State. Unfortunately, that's not how football works. So South Dakota got a ranking out of it. Rack said, every week you get closer. Just 2 more slots up to number 1 with Idaho, and you nailed it. Idaho has proven that I think they could give a real good game to Montana State and South Dakota State. Right now, though, those 2 teams are powerhouses. And Idaho is incredibly hot. But we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with them. It's going to take a lot to bump them off. It's going to take a South Dakota State loss or a Montana State loss and Idaho to keep winning to get Idaho in the top 1 or 2. Lounge Lizard at War. Wait, you forgot Montana? Ha 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 ha. I didn't forget Montana. As Joe and I said on the FCS preview, Montana is a very average program. They're very average so far this year. Maybe they could turn it around, but they have a daunting gauntlet for the next month. It's not going to be great for Montana. So they need to figure something out and start winning in dominating fashion for me to start really buying in. Robert Martin, thanks for being transparent. It seems the only ones that aren't those who kept Montana in the polls. Yeah, I pretty similar to what I just said. Montana, I don't think is in a top 25 position for me right now. Heath's hot takes. Hey, Heath. William Mary above WCU still. Throwing darts. Not really throwing darts, kind of analyzing. William Mary was a very good team last year, very good team this year. I think they have a better roster. WCU definitely has a good offense, and their offense has been rolling without a doubt. They've been wagon-esque, but they're not a better team or should be ranked higher than William Mary. And then UNI above USD is interesting. It is interesting. It is. But I believe it's by one spot. So I am taking stock in Theo Day, and I am taking stock in South Dakota being very good and having a very, very good win. But is it enough to put them over that UNI team right now? I don't think so. Anyways, I'll try to do another one of these next week and explain my thought process as to my top 25 rankings, my hashtag StatsPerform FCS top 25. Thanks again to the committee for giving me a shot, and hopefully we can keep this rolling. If you guys like it and you want more of this, let me know. Follow Sanderson Radio on Twitter, and if you want to react to my polls, it's just right on up there. Thanks. We'll catch you, I guess, later in the week.